Please stop selling your 2026 rookie picks. This class is much better than everyone thinks, and that's for one reason: the quarterbacks. Today, we're going to be diving into the 2026 Dynasty rookie quarterback class, giving you my top 10 rankings in the summer scouting episode. Starting off with 10, we have Carson Beck. And I'll admit, I miss on Beck. A lot of people miss on Beck, and he is hated by the Dynasty community right now. I had him as my quarterback one last year, and that is on me. He was very bad at Georgia. However, now he's a fifth-year senior, transferred to Miami, but one thing still remains true. He's 6'4", 220 pounds, and has the prototype to become a number one overall pick and a great quarterback in the NFL. He broke out as a junior, throwing for 3,900 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, and I'll break down what he doesn't do well first because that's what everyone's going to talk about. He was very bad under pressure. When pressure came, Georgia's offense was not good without Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers. They didn't give him much help, and he wasn't able to do more than what was expected of him. And that's what gave him the really bad year. When the lights were bright, he was even worse. He did not step up under pressure. The games that everyone was watching, because not everyone's a die-hard college football fan, we watch these games, we see Carson Beck, and he was bad. There's no getting around it. He was bad when the lights were bright, and that is important. He also doesn't give you anything as a runner, which is why he's my quarterback 10 for Dynasty. Again, this is not for the NFL draft. This is for Dynasty. However, in a clean pocket, in a good system, think Brock Purdy, he dominates. Clean pocket, he's a good thrower. 23 big-time throws is very good. That's basically NFL level type throws where you're pushing it down the field. Has a good NFL build. His mechanics are also very good when you turn on the film. He has flashes of NFL throws. He has an NFL arm still. So, I don't love Carson Beck, and he's my quarterback 10, but I don't think we can kind of kill him completely. At 9, we are going to have John Mateer, and he's a junior at Oklahoma, transfer from Washington State. He's 6'1", 219 pounds, so he's a solid frame, but a bit shorter. And he broke out as a sophomore, throwing for over 3,100 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 picks. And one thing he does give you, and why he's number 9, is on the ground he had 826 yards and 15 touchdowns. So he is a very good runner, which is important for fantasy. Now, what I love most about Mateer is he's a fantastic runner. He gives you great fantasy upside there. Had 66 first downs on the ground, which is phenomenal. Very creative thrower as well. He can get out of the pocket. 19 big-time throws. Has flashes of NFL throws. Doesn't do it as consistently. And a plus arm. So all good things there. The issue is his size, 6'1". That's probably a bit exaggerated. He might be closer to 6 foot. And he's definitely less than 219 pounds, which is what he's listed at. But again, keep in mind, these colleges lie all the time about height and weight. So that's a concern. And because of that, he's probably not going to be a high draft pick, which means, he's not going to get a chance to start, and that rushing upside isn't going to be as important because, say we have a top 5 pick, he's going to get every chance to fail. Like a Justin Fields, for example. He wasn't a good NFL quarterback, but he was still a good fantasy pick because he could run the ball. Mateer isn't, if he's a bad NFL quarterback, he's not going to have those seasons where it's like, oh, we don't care he's a bad NFL quarterback because he scores fantasy points. Like, no, he's bad. He's getting maybe half a season if he's a 4th, 3rd round pick, right? Now, he also hasn't shown the ability to win in the pocket consistently. It's a lot of more gimmicky, out of the pocket, college type stuff. And he also hasn't shown great processing skills. So that's a big concern because if you can't process, you can't play in the NFL. Now, my 8 is Fernando Mendoza. And I know a lot of guys at the FTR draft community have him higher than this. And I'll be frank, for the NFL draft, he would be higher than this. One knock against him, he doesn't really give you anything on the ground. So that's why I have him low. Hasn't really broken out yet officially because he hasn't been in a great situation. Just over 3,000 yards as a sophomore though. 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Fine year entering his junior season now. So he's still very young. And he has a plus arm. 12 big-time throws. The highs are great. Fantastic flashes of processing the field. And he shows a high football IQ. So I love that from him. I think he could be very good. He does make NFL throws. He works the middle of the field, which is very important. 87.6 PFF grade on 13.8 attempts in the middle, percentage attempts in the middle of the field. So that's great for Mendoza, something that you definitely look for because outs and to the sidelines a lot more gimmicky than throwing to the middle of the field. That's important. The negatives for him, though, for fantasy, doesn't really give you much on the ground. Also, kind of stuck in the pocket with 40 sacks. That's a negative for fantasy and, anything in the NFL. Struggle badly against pressure, 17 turnover-worthy plays, which is really not good. Needs polish on his mechanics. Lack of down-to-down consistency, but overall, I think he's a solid player. Just a lot to clean up, and if he's going to win as a pure pocket passer, essentially, he needs to be better than what he's shown so far, but I think his upside is higher than where he's ranked right now. At 7, we have Sam Levitt, who's a sophomore at ASU, 6'2", 200 pounds, so a bit smaller again, and he had a very good freshman year. Again, he's a very young guy, so there's a lot more upside on the bones with him. Had over 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but what he did better than Mendoza was on the ground, 443 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. Entering his sophomore season, so again, he's very raw, but the pros for him, great arm strength despite his size. I mean, you would not think he is 6'2", 200 pounds. He rips the ball. His arm talent is unreal. Very athletic, brings a ton of rushing upside to the table, which is awesome to see. He can make the great off-platform throws you want to see from these creators in the NFL, which is where we're shifting towards. And his tape is filled with NFL throws. So his highs are as good as really anyone in the draft. And he did that as a freshman, which is awesome. But he makes some ridiculously bad decisions at times. It kind of reminds me a bit of like Cam Ward, where it's like the off-structure plays are like, oh my God, this dude is unbelievable. And then the other off-structure plays are like, dude, this dude is terrible. This is the reincarnation of Jameis Winston if he was mobile, right? So, it's the highs and lows. His sophomore year, seeing how we can reel that back a little bit is going to be crucial. Needs better touch and nuance. He's very raw and polished, and obviously that's to be expected. He was only a freshman, but that clearly shows up on his film. Doesn't have great NFL size, and the sample isn't huge, so that's why I can't have him any higher than 7, but the upside is very, very large for Sam Levitt. Now, 6, we have Cade Klubnik, who would also be ranked higher for the NFL draft strictly, but he's a senior at Clemson, 6'2", 210 pounds, so fine size. Junior breakout with 3,600 yards, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and was solid on the ground, 463 yards, 7 touchdowns. I think Levitt, even though his stats were actually a little bit better than Levitt's, he just isn't as... I don't think he has the athletic upside that Levitt does. So that's the thing, but Klubnik is a solid runner. He gives you some upside to the NFL level for fantasy football. Now, what he can do well and why Ben has him as his quarterback 1 is he can win from the pocket at an NFL level, and that is very important. He is going to be a good quarterback, and I think that, he may not ever be the Josh Allen, the Jaden Daniels of the NFL, but he can certainly be your Brock Purdy type player. He can win from the NFL, and that's what he's going to do, win from the pocket. He has good accuracy to all 3 levels of the field, solid mobility, plus athlete. There's a lot to like about him. But he did show limitations from his size, so I don't know if the big plays are going to be there. He doesn't have a ton of physical tools, so it's like, how high can his upside really be, especially for fantasy? He isn't great outside the pocket, which is where the NFL is going towards, so I just don't see him having the potential to be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, but I think he has a very high floor. Now, at 5, we have Garrett Nusmeier, who's also a great player, and I would have him way higher than this for the NFL draft. He'd probably be closer to my 2 right now, but he's a senior at LSU, 6'2", 200 pounds, junior breakout, 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, so big season from him, and we saw a lot of flashes out of Nussmeier. He has the ability to win from the pocket at an NFL level as well, just like Klubnik. They're kind of similar, but I think Nussmeier is a bit more accurate to all 3 levels. He has, solid mobility as well. He's a plus athlete. The 2 are, Klubnik and Nussmeier are very similar, but the issue with Nussmeier is he gives you nothing on the ground, which honestly could be a reason to move Klubnik ahead of him, but I think just as a pure passer, Nussmeier he does a bit more out of the pocket. I think he just is a little bit better in every aspect of the game, which gives him a higher ability to be the number 1 overall pick, in my opinion, which is obviously important for fantasy. He's a bad gunslinger at times. 18 turnover-worthy plays. It's what makes him so good and what makes him, exciting for fantasy. Like, the difference between Nussmeier and Klubnik is Nussmeier will push the big plays. Again, another reason why I have him higher, but that's also shown with the 18 turnover-worthy plays where it's a bit too much at times. Needs to reel that back slightly, and he also kind of lacks overall physical upside. Now at 4, we're going to get into these athletic quarterbacks who probably will be ranked behind Klubnik and Nussmeier for NFL draft rankings, but for fantasy, I'm shooting for the upside here because they give you a ton of rushing ability, big plays, all that good stuff. 4, we have Drew Allar, senior at Penn State. 6'5", 235 pounds. He was compared to Josh Allen forever, and he has that prototype. Good junior season, I wouldn't say great. About 3,300 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Gives you 302 rushing yards on the ground with 8 touchdowns. He's not going to be like the Jaden Daniels. He's going to be more like the Josh Allen, where maybe he's not going to have 1,000 rushing yards in a year like, Jaden Daniels potentially could, but he's going to be awesome around the goal line, especially with like the tush-push type plays, all that good stuff with his massive frame in the NFL. Again, Josh Allen-esque ceiling, which is going to boost his dynasty. Like, players are going to fall in love with him. He's going to be viewed higher by the market because of his prototype and rushing ability, especially around the goal line, which is important to keep in mind. Like, Allar is going to be a fan favorite by dynasty fans. I am very, very sure of that. Good rusher. Like, he's kind of clumsy. He's not going to be like your Lamar Jackson, like I said, Jaden Daniels, but he's going to get a lot of NFL goal line work, which is arguably better than just being a good runner. Like, Jalen Hurts is so good because he gets 15 rushing touchdowns a year. The arm talent is unreal. He has number 1 overall pick, arm talent. It's just a matter of putting it together on a play-by-play basis. Now, yeah, that's the cons. Inconsistent on a down-to-down basis. His mechanics are, kind of all over the place at times. Hasn't shown the ability to throw to all 3 levels consistently. Doesn't have consistent touch on his passes either, so he kind of tries to chuck everything 100 miles an hour and doesn't really loft the ball over defenders, any of that good stuff. And yes, that is an issue. At 3, get the hate comments ready right now. We have Nico Iamaleava. I believe I said that right. I think I was off a little bit. I'm getting close. But obviously, everyone knows Nico by now. He is the sophomore at UCLA who transferred from Tennessee. And obviously, the off-the-field stuff is a bit concerning. We don't know the whole truth. And we're probably not going to know a lot more until close to the NFL draft when we get some kind of reports. But I'm looking at him from a fantasy perspective. He's 6'6", 215 pounds, good freshman year with 2,600 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, with 358 rushing yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns. But, his structure and athletic upside, he could be the number 1 overall pick. I said this about a lot of guys, but I believe Nico absolutely, if he makes that jump, he could be that guy. There is so much more in the upside category and like meat on the bone than what he's shown so far. He has plus rushing ability with an even higher ceiling. He is an elite rusher and definitely could be if he makes that jump. He has elite arm talent as well, 17 big-time throws, unreal physical tools. He's a plus grade outside the pocket. His arm talent is better than Drew Allar's, and I said he is that elite arm talent that's like Josh Allen type ceiling. I think Nico is right there, but I think Nico is a much more fluid runner, better outside the pocket than Drew Allar. So that's why they're like back-to-back, but I have Nico just a little higher. However, he needs to clean up on his high misses, especially in the middle of the field. He'll miss high, and he'll throw interceptions, which is obviously not good. He cannot miss high in the middle of the field. It's a bad look. He has the arm talent, but overthrows the deep ball too much. You saw that at Tennessee. You'll see a lot of negative clips about that. But he has the arm talent to throw it 80 yards. He just needs to reel it in a little bit, get that deep ball touchdown, and I think he'll be golden. Too many careless decisions still. 11 turnover-worthy plays, which isn't awful, but there's too many questionable plays where it's like, what are we doing? Again, he's only a freshman though. Allar is much older than him. Nico, I think, has a higher ceiling because he's shown flashes that are on par with Allar in his freshman year, which is important. Now, this is for fantasy. And also, we are assuming that any player eligible is coming out for this rankings. Number 2, we have Arch Manning. No, he's not number 1. We will get to that in a second. And no, I understand that he's probably not going to come out this year. However, he's eligible, so we have to rank him because if he has a great season, he has a Heisman winning year where he's the projected number 1 overall pick. which is very possible. I don't see him staying another year at school. It's just reckless to throw away. NIL money is great, but there's not much higher you can go than number 1 overall, which is where he could be. He's a sophomore at Texas, 6'4", 225 pounds, so great frame. Number 1 overall pick, draft potential as well. Plus rushing upside on top of that. Not going to show his stats because he barely played, but on film, he can move. He had a big, long rushing touchdown, which was awesome to see. Fantastic 3-level accuracy. Clean mechanics. I mean, his mechanics are basically perfect. Can win from within the pocket. Cons, just not enough experience yet, so we don't really know if this is a fluke. It's probably not. He projects very well over a full season, but it is, one of the only cons you can give him. He needs to stay consistent with his mechanics. His mechanics are great, but with how many, the limited sample size he did have, there was definitely a few plays where he rushed it or it just didn't look perfect. Again, we're nitpicking here. I mean, he looked awesome. Slightly needs to improve his decision making as well. That's just going to come with him being, he's a freshman last year, and now he's entering his sophomore season. So, overall, Arch is a great player, and I'm super excited to see if he does declare or not in 2026. Now, the number 1 overall quarterback for 2026 Dynasty Rookie Drafts, in my opinion, is going to be LaNorris Sellers, sophomore out of South Carolina. 6'3", 242 pounds, unreal size. Had a great freshman year with 2,500 passing yards, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But what's most impressive was what he does on the ground. 674 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. I heard someone comp him to Cam Newton on the ground and watch him play. Yeah, I think that's about right. Especially that Clemson game. Dude, this kid is unreal. He has the upside to become the number 1 quarterback, not just pick in Dynasty, with elite rushing ability. I think he has the best rushing tools that we've seen since Cam Newton. I can't remember a quarterback that I've watched in the NFL draft or for Dynasty that I've been this excited about, and he has the ability to unseat Josh Allen, to unseat Jaden Daniels, if he cleans things up with his mechanics, with his passing ability. But on top of that, knocking out a few more pros, understands the right reads and can show great accuracy. He just is a bit too low to throw it there. The anticipation is good, though, is what I'm trying to say with that. Unreal physical tools, bar none, the best in the class, in my opinion. Phenomenal creator outside the pocket. He can make big throws. People try and sack him. He can turn that into a 10-yard rushing gain. I mean, the dude is just unreal. I'm just going to throw some clips of him and, what I'm talking about on the screen from when I watched the film on him. However, the cons. Needs to process the field faster. He understands the right read a lot of the times, but he gets there a bit too late, which gives him the chance to be intercepted, and, that's just not great. He understands what he's looking at, just needs to get to that answer faster, throw the ball faster, and he's so close. It's not like an Anthony Richardson situation where he's just not even close, he looks terrible as a processor. He's not good. He's not quite there yet, but he's a young player, so that's kind of one thing to keep in mind. Too much one read and go. The thing is, I don't necessarily think he can't make multiple read. It's just how good he is on the ground, and no one can stop him on the ground. If the first read's not open, what he is being coached, why would he not just take off? However, you want to see a bit more multiple progression in college football right now. I think it's more so he's just so talented as a runner versus he can't do it, but it definitely is something he kind of lacks and doesn't show on film. And again, way too many careless decisions still. Had 19 turnover-worthy plays, so that is worth mentioning. That still is a pretty big issue for me. Just tone it down, make some better decisions, get the ball out faster, and I think he'll be golden for 2026. That's going to wrap things up, though. That's my top 10 quarterback rankings. We are going to be scouting all the positions in summer scouting for Dynasty to, give a firm, good evaluation on if you should, in fact, keep these 2026 rookie picks. Why I believe the class is a little bit better than consensus, but we'll get a full answer to that. Maybe I'll flip my mind after watching the other positions more in depth, even though I've done a little bit bare bones to give that conclusion as well. That said, let me know what position you want to see next in the comments down below. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more Dynasty content, more 2026 content, and let me know anything you want to see below. Also, leave some debates down below about my Nico take, anything else. Want to talk Dynasty with you guys. But But again, appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.